Sports fans, help us by going over to DraftKings to play in their daily fantasy league. If you deposit a mere $3, you'll get that credited back to you, and tomorrow's prize pool is $100,000. Almost 8,000 people will win money, so head on over and put your lineup down. Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to another edition of Court Call with Ronnie Nunn. As you all remember, Ronnie was a NBA referee for 20 years and head of the referees for 5 more. And we've got you coming from Munich, which is an awful long way to be doing a court call with us.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to help teach. I have done this for several years, and this is a key time for instruction for the new confirmed international referees for FIBA Europe. One, and the other is what we're doing first is the 51 country representatives that are instructors, and they're gonna be here first and during the first week, and we're going to instruct them all on the materials, the rules, the mechanics that they're moving toward the NBA type style mechanics on a FIBA world basis. So it's an exciting time. The great news is that from all these 51 countries, everybody speaks English. And my cadence of my English has to go a little slower, but everybody gets it. The questions are solid, and thank goodness for English for me and many others that travel over to Europe and other places in the world where English is still a potent language and helps in getting communications across.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you can understand my English as we break down these games, which is the Warriors and the Rockets got together in a game 1 for the Western Conference, and we've got a few calls to go over. So let's break right into it. The beginning of the fourth quarter, we had a James Harden post-up on Iguodala, and they ended up calling this foul, and it looked a little strange to me, so I wanted your opinion on what you thought.
This actually is excellent defense by the defender, Iguodala, against Harden, and Harden really has nowhere to go. He has to push himself through. As a matter of fact, when the sequence begins, it looks like he does a first step towards an offensive foul, but that's almost in a marginal area, so we can get away with that. But I think the rest of it really has nothing to show there. And the other thing is that official in that position should be out of that position as his lead official comes over and takes over that play. He's actually staying in that position to referee that. And you notice the lead official could have made that call if he thought something, but he didn't. So it's about taking away from your primary areas and giving it to other people that have a really good look. Because this play was marginal at best. It was a player trying to dislodge another. No foul. Even though the right arm of Iguodala was a little down, it came right into the ball of Harden, so it really is a play-on situation. In this case, even though Iguodala is not as vertical in his right arm as he should be, actually Harden takes the ball into his arm, and really there's nothing on that play either. So the official makes a signal as if it's a body play, but Iguodala really holds his ground, and you want to credit defenders that are holding their ground when the tightness of contact is as such.
Well, let's move on to the middle of the fourth quarter because now James Harden does go on a drive, and it was a very difficult play. He makes the basket. And when you saw the replay, though, it was kind of startling how much contact was made. So I'm wondering what goes through the process of the referee and how does this kind of a thing get missed if you felt like it was a foul?
This is the kind of play where, Harden, again, uses this technique, and he comes up into the arm, and he's looking for any kind of non-vertical arm that he can go through. From the angle that it shows here, it looks like there's a touch of maybe the ball or the arm and the hand in the ball, and he comes out of it so quickly on the drive, and the defender doesn't really make we don't really get a sense that the defender really gets him. I think it's a questionable play on that drive, and if it's questionable, it's marginal, and we should let it go. The good news is he made the play, and all plays in basketball for officials, when there's a conversion, it just softens the blow of the play. There may be question on it, but the basket made, players get it, the defender gets it, and the referee says, maybe it was best I didn't call it because I didn't see it as well as I'd like to, and it doesn't deserve a whistle.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on to the next play we have here, which is with about under 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And there was a scrum, basically, on the left side in front of the bench with an attempted screen by Draymond Green. You're going to have to explain this one to me because there wasn't any call at all.
The truth of the matter is it needed a call. The action initially, in my view, is that our trail official doesn't stay with the play. He could stay beyond his initial primary control of the basket of the dribbler. But the bottom line is that he knows the ball. There's a screen going to the outside, and sometimes in that area you can take on two plays. Is what I'm trying to say. And there's no question that the first one looks like it could be an offensive foul by Golden State. So, but the fact of the matter is that he's oblivious to it. And in our lead position, since the ball is so high, you kind of got to look up where the players are. Most of the players in this sequence are up to the free throw line, so you take your eyes up towards that area. And I think because both didn't do that, it ended up being a problem. That, by the way, when the scrum occurred, there wasn't a whole lot to give technicals for. The problem was the offensive fouler created the problem. The defensive fouler came over him. It looked like a scrum. It looked like almost a hold of the legs or something, but it all kind of dissipated, and it ended up being nothing worthy of going to the, obviously, to the monitor. But most importantly, we still have to referee plays that are plays that start at the initiation. And this one was initiated early, but was missed. And then, actually, it wasn't until they both were on the ground that our officials actually took notice of the whole thing. So, not a good play for the guys, and not a good attentions to your primary and your off-primary play.
Did you feel like the falling backward into him was the intentional part of taking him out?
Yeah, he took him out, and he started it by a lean. He already started leaning to catch the cutter. And once that lean started, somebody needed to pick it up. And the key thing to this is getting plays at the start. When you see the officials begin to come down, there's a lean and then there's a pull, because the guy gets leaned into and then the defender pulls to get around him. So, I mean, you could have called a double foul and kept the ball in place right there. The problem was no one saw the sequence until very, very late. And I have seen a couple of plays in the playoffs that we are seeing things late. We are not getting at the inception of the play, and then it ends up looking bad. It's the same play with the ejection of the Chicago player in the rebounding play in that series, where there's an off-ball rebounding foul. He's being clamped all of a sudden and scissored by him. He tries to kick his leg loose of that. He gets ejected. And unfortunately, in that play, you had a chance to go see it, but you didn't pick up this little subtle scissor. Mm-hmm. And whatever the fact of the matter is you got to see plays. You've got to go back to the basics of what you do as an official and be good at it. And that will help us not only go to the monitor to confirm, but it'll go to the monitor knowing what we really have from the start.
So later in the fourth quarter, in a crucial part when the Rockets were down by 7, they were on a fast break, and we have Sean Livingston take a foul pretty much against Corey Brewer. It gave them free throws, but there were a couple of weird things. There was no review of a clear path, and so as a result, there was no rewarding of a one shot and the ball back. So tell us exactly what the call was made and what could have happened in a different interpretation.
There's several instances for clear path. This is probably the more remote one that you hardly see. And the reason why I say that is because an official is looking on a fast break, because that's where clear path comes from, the fast break action. He's looking to see if there's a defender between the ball handler and obviously the defender. And yes, as a matter of fact, you have two when you stop this play at around midcourt. Clear path plays, by the way, have to start where possession of the ball and or a pass from the ball is above the top of the key in the backcourt. So, for example, on a touchdown pass, on a pass that's going after a rebound, if there's a clear path foul by somebody who wants to catch that ball, after that ball gets past the backcourt of the top of the key, you have a clear path foul. So the location starts at the backcourt, the top of the key. In this situation, which is one of the remotes as I was referring to, we have to decide whether that foul was something to stop a fast break. And in this case, I don't see it as that. I hope the officials obviously didn't see it as like that and thought about that, because there's a player trying to get into the lane for fast break lanes. The typical three lanes. And in this case, I think the flailing of arms created the foul as the defender wanted to get ahead of the offensive player, obviously. But regardless, this play does not become a clear path play. One, there's defenders in place. Two, in fact, and the other is that the nature of the play also doesn't determine that it's, I hate to use the word intentional in the NBA, but doesn't show that it's a take foul, that they're trying to stop the fast break.
Okay, I feel like they at least could have reviewed it. It looked to me like Livingston took the foul. He was going to stop them from getting a three in transition, and he knows that he wants Corey Brewer shooting the free throw. It didn't look like anything else. He grabs him by the arm, and that was it. Now, I guess, they got the free throw, so it wasn't like a complete miss of a call, but obviously, one free throw and the ball back with a chance for a three-point play out of a sideline out of bounds play when you're down by potentially 6 points is a huge game swinger.
I would have liked to have seen them review it because of the nature of that kind of final remote type of clear path. I think what deterred them from going over was, one, they had two defenders that were certainly between the ball and the basket. And that would negate a clear path play. That becomes what we used to call a half-court game, even though this is a fast break. So that's one of the reasons why I would go. I think the other reason is that when you go, you better know what you're going for, what you're looking for, because you could be admonished for having gone to the monitor and then all of a sudden coming out with a decision that was incorrect, as we saw, as I mentioned before, in the Chicago game. So I think they had it right by instinct, which is a great thing that I think officials need to stay with. They had two defenders, and that just killed the clear path play.
Terrific. Well, let's finish up with our last play, which was under a minute to go. And a scramble for the ball made the Warriors have to toss the ball up before the shot clock expired. And the problem here was, in real time, to me, it felt like they got the ball just before it expired, and they would have another fast break to go down in the attack, down by 5. When you watch the replay, I mean, it's razor thin as far as how close it is, but they called a 24-second violation, killing any momentum they had to go down the court. What are your thoughts on this play?
Well, this has been something I think continually. It was certainly discussed the 5 years that I was in the director's position, and what really happens here is that everybody discusses should we stop the game when we have a fast break going. I think it really is determined that a good clock operator and a good crew of officials has to see that the ball is definitely secured prior to the buzzer. Anything that's really close, all are going to funnel into calling the whistle and stopping play. There's been coaches, probably like yourself, that vote that we should continue the play if there's an opportunity to do it. There's also coaches that say we should stop it. By the way, I think the weight of the coaches has been, what do we do in the final minutes of play, where people want to get time to decide what they want to run. And I think that was the weighted area where, and I know I'm a little out of my lane here, but that was the weighted area of the continual stoppage of play. Coaches would rather have, the marker and the board to write up something because these possessions at this time are very important.
And what do you think on this specific play? Would you have let them play on?
No, I think it's not bad. I think it's that close.
Okay.
I think he gets it just prior, and then by the time he comes down, it's zeros. So I'm comfortable with that whistle.
Well, so there you have it, sports fans. Some interesting calls. I hope that game 2 is a little bit different because it did feel like the home team got a little bit of a benefit, which is natural with that Oracle crowd going crazy. So hopefully, Ronnie, we'll see a little bit more balance.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling and see what this series unveils to us all.
Absolutely. I do not envy any referee that has to deal with James Harden on a game-by-game basis. So we'll see. But certainly dealing with you, Ronnie, on a day-by-day basis has been a pleasure. And thanks for bringing out your knowledge to the game. And we'll see you real soon. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in? You in, Ronnie?
I'm in, Coach, all the time. Pleasure to be with you.